My speech today is about using projects in all kinds of classes and all kinds of classrooms. And my name is Natalie. I'm really happy to welcome you to my talk, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to Dmitry Nikitin and all the colleagues, all the seasoned colleagues and professionals who are going to present later. Couple of words about me. I am a teacher, a trainer, and methodologist with over 20 years of active teaching experience. And this number of years does matter here, because regardless of this pretty impressive number of years of work, I tended to overlook a big and productive and fruitful area which is connected to projects for a number of reasons. I guess most of you have I hope most of you have a similar attitude to projects. Of course, which I will share a bit later. What to expect from my talk today. So we will discuss I will tell you what PBL is. Then I will present possible project types, and I will share the projects which I've already used and which worked for me. I've used with my learners of various ages, and a framework to implement projects in the classrooms. So hopefully at the end of the talk, you will have at least an idea of how to use projects and how to successfully bring them to your classes and to your learners. Well, project-based learning, that is what PBL stands for. It is a teaching method in which, as you may see, students are actively engaged and they do something which has personal meaning for them. And the definition is wonderful. It's amazing. Course, look, it includes active engagement. It is connected to real world, and it has personal connection. It has personal appeal to learners. Then the question is, why have I tended to overlook such a wonderful thing for a number of years? Because, to be honest, I used to discard them. I must confess that I tended to look at projects as at something bulky, time-consuming, not applicable to the way I work with my learners, something which requires a lot of efforts, a lot of research and communication, that is, which can be implemented in big educational institutions with huge classes of learners, but not in my private lessons or not in my group of learners. But it turned out that I was mistaken. Well, to sum up the things which frightened me off, that was long-term engagement, collaborative work, research, and presentation for a real audience. Because, where could I find a real audience? How can I ensure this research? And so on. I think you have the same concerns regarding the projects. Well, I'm going to somehow soothe you down. There were things which still appealed to me. So I couldn't deny that any kind of project, this is great demonstration of knowledge, skills, abilities, and not only to an outer audience. They work, and they mainly work the way I perceive them, for learners themselves. Because, as you may see, the last point is the sense of satisfaction which it gives to learners, and that is the most effective tool which helps learners work and motivates them. They develop deep contact learning knowledge, and learners start understanding, look into the essence of the topic, and they have this critical thinking. They start analyzing the information. It allows them to use their creativity. It brings new vibes, new energy in the classes. So many advantages, I guess too many advantages not to use projects in our lessons. Now, by the way, everyday and typical classes. However, there is a fundamental issue, is how to exactly use the projects to ensure all these benefits I've just discussed. As usual, all great things, they happen, they are somehow connected to chance, to this serendipity moment. That was my serendipity moment, my eye-opener. What you can see now, this is a work. This is a result of one of my typical classes. I had a learner that was, as you may see, that is, as you may guess, that was a young learner, a girl, 8 or 9, she was around 8 or 9 years old. And we were reading a typical text about different types of fruit, the way they grow, how they can be consumed by people, and so on and so forth, in a pretty regular course book. And I was, physically sensing how my learner was losing interest in the class with every moment. And I'm not the one to tolerate this. And I did my best. I used all my energy, but I was feeling that I was losing her. And then, just in a kind of despair, I asked her, okay, what would you like to do? And she showed me her brand new pencils. That was a big set of some coloring pencils of various colors. Just, I want to draw. That was a click. Of course, the idea immediately came to my mind. I took a piece of paper, I took my felt tips, and I said, okay, because what you're looking at, this is the product of my work, not my learner's work. And I said, okay, that is what we are going to do. We are going to make a poster. You should have seen the look in my learner's eyes. She was like, wow, really? A poster? I said, yes. After the class, you will go and demonstrate it to your parents, to your friends, to your younger sister. Oh, by the way, that was an online class. So we were working on Zoom, as we are doing with you right now. So I fetched a piece of paper. I suggested choosing the fruit, choosing and picking up the information which my learner wanted to include on the poster. At this moment, she started scrutinizing the text with such attention, which amazed me, which impressed me, okay, she obviously chose mangoes. Then we started discussing the facts. We started discussing the accompanying pictures. I couldn't recollect my learner speaking as much as she was doing at that moment. So we were drawing such things like our posters on mangoes simultaneously. So I was working on my piece of paper, she was working on her piece of paper, and we were discussing, telling each other what we were doing. Like, oh, look, at this moment I'm writing the letter M and I'm going to color it with red. What about you? And this ensured this communication, this interaction, and speech, active speech. But it could have stayed. So I was impressed by the result. The lesson was great success, but it could have remained a kind of art class, art part of my educational process, which can be applicable only with young learners, if it wasn't for Maureen McGarvey, one of the teachers on Teaching Adults course, who introduced projects as part of our home assignment. She gave us various articles, and one of the articles was on PBL, project-based learning. And in this article, to my surprise and satisfaction, I discovered that there exist various types of projects. And this work, which on the mango poster, which I did with my learner, was also a kind of project. And that was a blessing. I was impressed. I liked it a lot. The article is written by Jason Anderson, and it was published in 2021, as you may see. And according to him, there exist various types of projects. They differ according to the level of difficulty. And here on this page, they are presented from the simplest to the more complex ones. As you may see, we have research and present projects, writing projects, drama projects, design problem projects, business problem projects, research, and even real product projects. I haven't used them all in my classes. So I'm going to share experience, my personal experience, and the projects which worked for me, for my learners of various ages, because, projects can be done and can be implemented not only in young learners classes, they work for all ages of learners. The first type is, as you may see, the simplest, according to this scale. This is research and present projects. By the way, this is the one, the mango thing, which I was speaking a minute ago about. So this is any kind of presentation which is done to group mates, and it can cover any kind of topic. Hobbies, places of interest, favorite fruit, transport, whatever. Whatever topic you are currently covering, you can wrap it up into a project. I understood that projects can be applicable to groups, which is pretty obvious, to pairs, and they can even work in one-to-one classes. I used projects with my young learners, with my teens, and with my adult learners. And of course, the level of difficulty, the level of sophistication, the level of vocabulary differed. But nonetheless, the idea was the same. We used projects. That is, we covered particular stages. We had the discussion stage. We had the presentation, the research stage. We had the stage which requires assembling of the results, analysis, the presentation stage, and even the feedback stage. So all this, which makes a project a project. The procedure which I inferred for myself with this kind of project. You can assign each learner a particular area for discovery. If these are young learners, I prefer, by the way, to give each learner a different task. For example, if these are young learners, I can ask them to communicate with their peers, with the group mates, and ask them, what is your favorite color? What is your favorite fruit? So as you may see, it works even with the lowest levels of learners. And this ensures communication, creativity. I do encourage my learners to take notes in the way which works for them. These can be pictures. These can be some, mysterious signs, whatever, because I never get involved into the way they make notes, because this is their private area. This is how they help themselves support the presentation stage. If the learners, so the examples which I've given, they work for very young learners. However, with teens and adults, this type of projects works as well. I remember a class in which my learners needed to come up with a kind of transport which, according to them, could be invented in future. And the question which they asked each other was, what kind of transport do you think will be invented in 10 years, and how do you believe it will operate? So as you may see, that ensured lengthy discussion, description, going into detail, into a lot of details, because after that they needed to present their findings to the class. And that was interesting. That was the moment, the aha moment, like, wow, we can be creative in our classes. What I found as something which could work for me and my learners is appealing to their imagination. This especially works with pairs and one-to-one classes, where I just can't find so many people to communicate with. This is why I ask my learners to imagine information. Okay, what do you think people could do? What do you think people could invent, and so on and so forth? This is, at first, when I did it, I was surprised by my boldness. Of course, like, wow, really? Will it work? It works. It does work. Some people prefer to imagine and to present their own findings rather than talk to others. Okay, whatever works for you, it works in my classes. I'll show you an example. This is a basic example. This is how I asked my learners to take notes. And by the way, this particular bar diagram, bar chart, that was created and invented by one of my learners. The task was to create and imagine a group of 12 learners and to think which jobs they may choose in future. To my amazement, the learner, of course, could count to 12. To my amazement, the number of jobs exceeded number 12, which puzzled me a bit. I asked, like, why so? And the answer was that, some of the imaginary peers would like to combine the work of a teacher with the work of a pop star. They will be pop stars alongside, or some of them will be dentists. That was super impressive, I must confess. So that was something which made them overcome barriers of the way they perceive the world. So research and present projects can be of various kinds. You may set any kind of tasks to your learners. You may vary the level of difficulty. You may ask them to present their notes or just to present their discovery, their findings. They can be done in orally or in writing. You can help them assemble the information, let it be draw on the whiteboard or on the board in a real classroom, or you may leave them everything up to them. So the freedom of work is unlimited here. Another kind of project, just a second, let's move. Okay. Oh, yes. These are writing projects. As you may see here, the level of complexity increases. Again, these projects may take any form. What unites them all is that the final work, the final result, is a written text. The key product is a written text. And this text can be fictional, true, narrative, analytical, whatever. And you may, again, wrap it up in any kind of work. You can ask your learners to create a website where they upload information. I had this experience once. You may create a channel or a group in WhatsApp where they send their writings. You may ask them to do, I have it at hand. You may ask them to write, if these are young learners, why not to ask them to write it on a piece of paper and to present it in a beautiful way. What makes this project is, again, the preparation stage, that it must be based on some pre-discussed features. There must be some research, there must be some communication, and the presentation stage shouldn't be overlooked as well. Yes, this is the project which I have just shown. I purposefully chose the one which worked with young learners because while communicating with my colleagues, I understood that they tend to believe that with all the learners and with more proficient learners, writing is not a big deal, and they're used to writing. When it comes to the younger learners, nobody knows how to make them write, and not nobody knows, of course. There are so many professionals among us and among you, but it's difficult to make them interested in whatever they are doing. And what you are looking at, this is a text which I produced. This is information about me, which I produced again alongside with my learner. She was writing about her community. She lived and she still lives in Spain, and she was writing about a tiny village, a town in Spain. I was writing about my place, Korolov, but still we were discussing, we were commenting on pictures, we had the presentation stage, we were discussing the spelling of words. And that was great. That was great. And that made me believe that, well, projects can be limited, can be to one class. They are not that time consuming, and they help learners show their creativity and show their knowledge. Another, and I guess today the last type of project which I'm going to speak today about is design problem projects. As you may see, the level of complexity increases. Again, I'm now presenting the scale created by Jason Anderson. So this is a project, these are projects which are based on specific problems, and they may require any kind of design, any kind of plan, any kind of collaborative work. And the way I've discovered, they are not that applicable to young learners. If some of you may somehow adapt them to young learners, very young learners, I'll be really happy to learn about your discoveries and to discuss it with you. But in my experience, they work better with teens and adults, because now they have this abstract thinking. They unleash their imagination. They can use their general knowledge. And again, these projects may take various forms and various types. Sometimes we discuss real models. Sometimes we design models of a solar system. We design the model of a spaceship which could carry people to the sun or to other planets. And then we discussed how to organize this spaceship, what should be installed there, what things people may need on board, and so on. Again, so you can adapt it to your teaching needs and to your learners' interests. And that ensures special bond, that ensures your learners' involvement, interest, and that creates special bond. Because a pleasant subproduct of project is that of all projects and using them in classes, at least which I discovered for myself, is that learners are more willing to come, and the learners to come to classes, to take part in classes, and they become more active. And even during regular classes, because of course I do not teach projects all the time. I do not base all my learning, all my teaching mode only on projects, but still, even the most kind of boring classes start having new vibes. Well, you may ask why to call this a project, because that is what brought me to projects in the first place. And the point is that all these works, all these projects I've just discussed, they do conform to the framework for project-based learning. Of course, there is a special framework. I hope you are ready to see a picture. Let's. Okay, yes, here it is. So there are particular stages which need to be covered in order to create a successful project. There is a planning stage. There is a stage in which you introduce the project, you discuss it. I actually, again, this scheme is a scheme of Jason Anderson. I, to myself, call the stages a bit differently. So I have the planning the project stage, then discussion stage, where we just discuss with my learners what they need to do. I check the understanding, I help them. Then students work on the projects. This can be done inside one class. This can be set as home assignment. This can be extended over a period of time. Whatever works for you, whatever way you would like to to use it in your classroom, everything is good. Then a stage which can't be overlooked is the stage of presentation of the product. Of course, any work should have some visual result and some visual ending. And then there is this assessment and reflection stage. We always ask each other with my learners to comment on each other's work. So if I present something, I ask my learners to tell what they liked the most and what they would like to make differently or what they would make differently. Peer evaluation and teacher assessment, they do matter, especially peer evaluation, because I try to develop critical thinking in my learners and the ability to find something positive in your partner's work. The importance of this is undeniable. This is undeniable. So all these works, they do require particular stages, which in the end make them products, make them projects. Well, what I've just presented, this is my personal attitude to project-based learning. This is how I tailor the projects, how I adapt them to my classes and to what I expect from my learners. But my findings are that projects do facilitate effective language learning. Undoubtedly, cause learners start thinking about the meaning of words, the correct usage of words, the presentation stage. Then they allow room for experiment creativity. We need this. They go hand in hand with education and with new knowledge. And they can be easily adapted to learners' interests and to our teachers' needs. Just, okay, I need this, let's go. And the most important, projects boost interest and they bring incitement in classes. Well, that is it about the project-based learning and the things I wanted to share with you today. I'll be more than happy to answer your any questions. You can ask them now. You can write them on social media in various messengers.